Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
There were over 70,000 American and Filipino servicemen who surrendered at that time. So from that point, the Japanese were sort of overwhelmed. They weren't prepared to deal with 70,000 prisoners, and they wanted to move them out as quickly as possible to a camp, Camp O'Donnell, which was about 65 miles north of the Bataan Peninsula. Within just a few months, over 1,500 American prisoners and over 10,000 Filipino prisoners died in Camp O'Donnell, with the result that by early summer, the Japanese decided to close Camp O'Donnell. Most of the American prisoners were moved to a new camp at Camp Cabanatuan, which for the first few months also had a very high death rate. As tragic as the events on Bataan were, both in the combat and then the surrender and the death march that followed, they did create sort of a common experience for Filipino and American servicemen. There's always been a joint effort to memorialize the events on Bataan ever since. In the case of the Philippine government, there is a national shrine on one of the peaks, Mount Samat, on Bataan, and there's a gigantic cross there as a memorial. And on the American side, you have the Manila American Cemetery and Memorial, which is the largest overseas U.S. cemetery. And there were over 17,000 soldiers buried there who died from throughout the Pacific.
The horrors, the sufferings, the sacrifices were equally shared by both American and Filipino service members, particularly during the Bataan March, as well as in the Cabanatuan POW camps. And it was in this crucible that bonds were forged, alliances were strengthened. But it even speaks beyond just that, how even after war, alliances with former enemies, in this case Japan, or strong partnerships with former enemies like Vietnam can be forged and can continue to be strengthened. For us in DPAA, part of this humanitarian effort is contributing to the strengthening of those partnerships throughout the Indo-Pacific, in fact, throughout the world. Our humanitarian work is essential to providing answers, in this case, to families, but also answers that are owed to the service member who made the supreme sacrifice.
These are individuals who died either in a prisoner of war camp or on the Bataan Death March. The Bataan Death March was a 5 to 10 day forced march that's aim was to kill Filipino and U.S. service members. Nothing I've done compares to what they had to go through. You know, when you say things like, you know, you stand on the shoulder of giants, right? Like you're digging up these giants, right? They're having a little emotional. I can't imagine the burdens they had to bear, right? It's not just the personal burdens, because they have the same promise to each other that we have now with them, right? So they don't think about their personal burdens that they had to bear, the personal hardships that they had to endure. They had to think about the men to their left and to their right, American or Filipino, right? I believe the memorial for the Bataan Death March is literally an American carrying an American, and then on the other side is a Filipino who's got his other shoulder, right? And that captures it perfectly. The fact is there are 3,200 service members unknown, interred in Manila. Just to put it in perspective, if we did 100 a year, it would take us 32 more years just to recover them, not to ID them. Right, so we have an astronomical, lifelong goal, mission that's in front of us. And so we know we're not done. We'll always keep going. I think that's the real honorable, the real noble task that we have before us.